Welcome to Achiever Tutorial friends. Today we are going to discuss about the civil disobedience movement, that is the third topic in your second chapter, nationalism in India. Now, on February 1922, during February 1922, non-cooperation movement was called off. When Gandhiji saw that the non-cooperation movement is taking a violent turn, he thought that this is not what I wanted. I wanted the non-cooperation movement to be not non-violent in nature. But when he saw that the non-cooperation movement is taking a violent turn, he decided to call off the movement and thought that the people should be trained in order to become a true satyagrahi. Next, now many were the members in the Congress were very much frustrated with this mass agitation and thought that the only way to oppose the British regime is to get a seat by a way of election into the council. So some members wanted to stand for the election to council, which was set up in accordance to the Government of India Act 1919. Now this council was formed in accordance with the Government of India Act 1919. So many of the members in the Congress thought that this mass agitation is not going to be very much useful. We must get ourselves into the election, and from the council we will be able to oppose the British regime. Now, Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das formed Swaraj Party within the Congress. So there were two. There were the two coins. There were the two sides of the same coin in the Congress. So those people who were who wanted the non-cooperation movement to continue, and there were people also who did not wanted to go for the mass agitation, but instead wanted to go for the council election. Now, this Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das formed the Swaraj Party within the Congress itself. Now, J. Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose. J. Nehru here is Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose wanted pressed for more mass agitation. Now, Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose wanted the movement to be more organized and they also wanted to pressurize the government more by way of mass agitation. Now, there are two factors which changed the whole of the political situation in India. Now, the two factors that change the politics during this period is first is economic depression. We all know there was a Great Depression in the year 1929, and the whole world came under it. So during the economic depression, India was also not left out from this. So Indian farmers were not able to export their production, and since they were not able to export the production, they weren't able to earn the money, and hence became bankrupt. Now, the statutory commission was formed under the John Simon. Now, during that period, a commission was formed under the John Simon. This is the name of the person, Sir John Simon. Why this commission was formed? This commission was formed in order to keep a check over the different movements that were being taken place in India against the British regime. Now, this Congress and Muslim people together opposed the Simon Commission, which came to India in the year 1929. Yes, this Congress and Muslim people started opposing the Simon Commission when it came to India in the year 1929. This commission was mainly formed so that the movements can be checked that were being taken place in India against the British regime, and this commission was also formed in order to devise the various constitutional policies for the colonial India. Now, next is Lord Irwin announced the dominant status for India in the Round Table Conference for India. Now, so considering the agitation that was being taken place in the minds of the people, Indian people, so he decided to calm those people by declaring that the British is considering to give the dominant status to India. The dominant status means to give independence to India, or we can say that the Indians will now have a complete control over the land. But when they will give it that day, that was not decided. That was not informed Lord Irwin to the Indian people, and he also proposed a round table conference. A round table conference is a kind of a conference where the people meet in order to discuss the different policies regarding the formulation of a constitution. Now, in the year December 1929, Jawaharlal Nehru in Lahore Congress in Lahore Congress formalized the Purna Swaraj. So Jawaharlal Nehru, even after the Lord Irwin decided to give the dominant status and also proposed a roundtable conference for the Indian people, Jawaharlal Nehru was not much convinced, and he decided that Jawaharlal Nehru as well as Subhash Chandra Bose was not much convinced by the propositions made by the Lord Irwin. So he decided to form. It was decided in the December 1929 that a Purna Swaraj will be formed, and where it was decided? It was decided in Lahore Congress. It was also decided that the 26th January 1930 will be celebrated as an Independence Day in India. Next. Now, under the same heading, the civil disobedience movement, which is the part 1 of the third heading. Now, the Salt March and the civil disobedience movement. Now, Mahatma Gandhi thought that salt will be act as a powerful medium in order to unite the people. How? On 31st January 1930, a letter was sent by Mahatma Gandhi to Viceroy Irwin stating the 11 demands. Now, Viceroy means a person who is acting on behalf of a sovereign government, who is ruling a particular land on behalf of some government. That is referred to as that is what the work of Viceroy is. So, on 31st January 1930, Mahatma Gandhi sent a letter which constitutes 11 demands made by the Indians to the Britishers. Now, among all those 11 demands, abolishing the salt tax was the most important one. Now, why Gandhiji thought that it is one of the most powerful, it is one of the salt is considered as the most powerful way to unite the people, because salt is used by everyone, irrespective of poor or by rich. Even rich uses the salt, and even the poor uses the salt. So if we consider this topic, or if we put this demand to abolish the salt tax, then it will unite all the people irrespective of which class they belong to, whether they belong to the lower class, whether they belong to the middle class, or whether they belong to the upper class. Now, other than this, there were various demands made. Other than this, the other 10 demands that were made in those letters were constituted from the various class of the Indian people. So, because of these various demands, it was the demands were made in such a way that it would unite the whole of the India against the British regime. Now, if the Gandhiji said that if these 11 demands are not satisfied, then the Congress will launch a full civil disobedience movement against the government. Now, this salt march was going to take place from Sabarmati to Dandi. Now, when Lord Irwin did not satisfy those demands as made in front of him by Mahatma Gandhi, the Gandhiji decided to lead a salt march which was going to start from Sabarmati to Dandi. Now, this salt march started on 12th of March 1930 and ended on 6th of April 1930. Now, the next point under the salt march and the civil disobedience movement, that is the 6th point, the colonial government started working against the civil disobedience movement. Now, when this salt march came to an end on 6th April, how it got an end? The Gandhiji took the water of the sea and boiled it and created salt out of it. So it was an act to show that we are not going to follow the rules and regulations, or we are not going to pay the salt tax that has been imposed on us by the British government. Now, the colonial government started working against the civil disobedience movement when British government came to the point that this movement is going to create a ridicule in front of us, is going to make us ridicule in front of the Indian people. Then they decided to take action against this civil disobedience movement. Now, there was many arrests were made, including the Mahatma Gandhi also. Now, one may say that what is the difference? One point I have not covered, so now I'm going to cover. that one may say that what is the difference between the non-cooperation movement and the civil disobedience movement. Under the non-cooperation movement, only people were asked that they should not cooperate with the British government. They were not asked to violate the laws as imposed by the British government over the Indian people. But under the civil disobedience movement, people were asked not to cooperate with the British government. Along with that, they were also asked not to follow any rules and regulations or any law as imposed on them by the British government. Now, when this movement spread to the whole of India, many arrests were made, many local people were arrested, and along with that, many children, many women were also beaten up. And while many arrests were made, among those arrests, Mahatma Gandhi was also arrested because he was the leader of the civil disobedience movement. Now, a pact was signed between Mahatma Gandhi and Lord Irwin on 5th March 1931. Now, when Mahatma Gandhi, why did Mahatma Gandhi sign the pact? It is referred to on 5th March 1931 in order to call off the civil disobedience movement, because when this movement was going on, many violence took place. Similar to the violence that took place during the non-cooperation movement, police stations were burned, post offices were burned, many markets were looted. So when Gandhiji saw this, again he was a true satyagrahi. He called off the movement by signing a pact with Lord Irwin on 5th March 1931. Now, Gandhiji also attended the Round Table Conference. The first Round Table Conference was boycotted by the Indians, but after the civil disobedience movement was cancelled, Gandhiji decided to attend it in order to find a solution to the problem. Now, Gandhiji attended the second Round Table Conference in London, but came back to India disappointed. During this conference also, no solution was made for the Indian people, so he came back disappointed. So when he returned back to India, he saw that many rules have been imposed, many laws have been imposed over the Indian people. The laws were such that the people will not be allowed to gather to have a meeting. They will not be allowed to take rallies on the road. They will not be allowed to march against the British government, and many arrests were also made during that time. Now, so considering this, that the British government is again becoming aggressive against the Indian people, Gandhiji decided to relaunch the civil disobedience movement. But when the civil disobedience movement was relaunched, it does not gain much publicity among the people, or we can say that many people did not cooperated with that movement, and finally the movement got failed in the year 1934. Now, other than this, the many along the arrest, one point I have missed here, during those arrests that were made, and during those the arrests that were made during the civil disobedience movement, among those along with the Gandhiji, the Ghaffar Khan and Jawaharlal Nehru were also arrested. So I think I have given you an overview of what the civil disobedience movement is, and if you have any doubt, we will clear those doubts during the video lecture. So today this much is enough, and thank you for listening to my lecture. Have a nice day. Stay home, stay safe.